it is in our interest as well to open up trade and deal with subsidies and trade distorting tariffs. And on the continent, I assured the leaders that I am firmly dedicated to coming up with a successful Doha round to make trade freer and fairer. After the trade fair, we drove to a local school for one of the best ways you can spend a sunny afternoon, and that's watching a ball game. In this case, it was a T-ball game. One team featured players from a local orphanage. Americans have got to know there's a lot of orphans on the continent of Africa as a result of disease and civil strife. It's in our interest to help the orphans, and we are. They were called the Little Dragons, and we played a team from a local school happened to be called the Little Saints. And we saw some very talented players. We also met great coaches and mentors, many of them from our embassy, who give their time to help the children improve themselves on the diamond and off. But this is more than a baseball program. This is a hopeful program. This is a program where people realize love. And this is a program where kids are able to develop aspirations and dreams. Some of them, of course, want to be big league players, but a lot of them, and they'll find out if they can't hit the curveball, they won't be. But a lot of them want to be doctors and pilots and engineers. One child told me they want to be a fashion designer. It's in our interests that we help people realize their dreams. Laura spent some time with Ghana school children. Here she is with Mrs. Kofour. They were treated to a kindergarten performance of a song about math, and they listened to a fifth grade debate. And she opened up a library. Laura's a librarian. She loves libraries. She loves books. And she opened up a reading hut built with the support of USAID. And beneath the shade of the hut, she enjoyed some story time with eager young readers and a reading mascot. He's the guy on the left. That evening, the president hosted a spectacular state dinner. The night ended with an impromptu dance to a traditional beat called High Life. Some of us put on a better performance than others. That is our ambassador. She was somewhat taken aback, as was Laura and most everybody else in the audience. I'm impressed by the president of Ghana. He is an example of a leader who has made right choices for his people, and it is in our interest to support such leaders. Early Thursday morning, we left Ghana for our final stop, which was Liberia. We were met by Africa's first democratically elected woman president, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. In her office in Monrovia, the president told me about the challenges her country faces and her detailed plans to meet them. She has assembled a wise group of advisors and ministers, many of whom were educated in the United States. And I took a little time there at the meeting to thank them for leaving our wonderful country to go back home and help this young democracy not only survive, but to thrive. I told the president that I admire Liberia's recovery from war and she could count on the United States of America to continue to stand by her side. And that's a commitment we must keep. The spirit of the Liberian people was unmistakable. We drove through the city. Again, there was a lot of folks lining the road. And they were cheering, and they were enthusiastic, and they were waving flags. I went to thank those who work at our embassy. I told them that the desire for freedom is universal. And it was interesting, the response from the Liberians in the audience, and they started shouting back yes at the top of their lungs. They wanted America to hear their voices. When the Liberian troops who were trained with U.S. funds marched past us, the president and me reviewing the troops, it was a proud moment. All of a sudden, you're beginning to see a force take place that will be disciplined and serve the people as opposed to intimidating the people. It's worth our interests and efforts to help train people these governments-trained force to bring stability to their countries. But nothing sums up the new Liberia better than its approach to education. We had a roundtable at the University of Liberia. By the way, I'm pretty certain the president was educated at the University of Pennsylvania. The more people who come and get educated in the United States from abroad, the better off our country will be. This man here is getting U.S. help to train teachers and principals to help rebuild the country's school system. Met a 15-year-old boy who was once reading well below grade level, and he didn't like going to school. That's what he said to the crowd. Both presidents sitting there said, I just didn't like going to school. And he was falling behind, and yet there's a USAID program to help students like him catch up. And now he wants to go to college. This woman I met told us that her husband left her and 3 children because she was illiterate. Pitiful excuse for not being, standing up and being a good father, but nevertheless, it's what she said. And now she has learned to read, and she plans to go to college. And like a lot of other people we met, she wants to be the president of Liberia. The progress in Liberia is real, and it is inspiring. As a Liberian official put it during a prayer at one of our ceremonies, these are prayerful people, and they're not afraid to pray in public. The nation has passed from the valley of despair to the buoyancy of new hope. The Liberian people have a distance to travel, but they do have an unshakable faith in liberty. And they got a faithful friend in the United States of America. And so throughout our trip, Laura and I were overwhelmed by the outpouring of warmth and affection for the American people. Again and again, we heard the same words, thank you. Thank you for sparing lives from malaria and HIV/AIDS. Thank you for training teachers and bringing books to schools. Thank you for investing in infrastructure and helping our economies grow. Thank you for supporting freedom, and thank you for caring about the people in Africa. Americans should feel proud, mighty proud, of the work we're doing in Africa. At every stop, I told people that the source of all these efforts is the generosity of the American people. We're a nation of compassionate and good-hearted folks. We recognize the extraordinary potential of Africa. In school children waving flags on dusty roadsides, to nurses caring for their patients at busy clinics, to artisans selling their products in scorching heat, we saw people who've been given great challenges and responded to them with clear eyes and big hearts. In Rwanda, a school teacher was discussing the fight to eradicate malaria and AIDS with her class, and she explained her attitude this way: it can happen here. With those words, she summed up the new spirit of Africa: confident and determined and strong. This is a spirit worthy of America's support. It is more powerful than any partisan quarrels here in our nation's capital, and having given our word, we must not turn back now. Congress needs to make America's commitment clear by fully and promptly funding our development programs. And presidential candidates of both parties should make clear that engagement with Africa will be an enduring priority of the United States. Laura and I are going to carry many fond memories from our trips to Africa. We will carry this clear conviction: with the continued support of America, the people of Africa can do more than survive. The people of Africa can succeed. God bless.